Shut up. That's why I need a new one. I gotta put it in my capital budget.
They do their school correctly. The youngest kids go to school.
Yeah, I got one of those.
Just spins and spins it.
Does. I give up on it.
The older kids stay later. And if they come back at 3, then who takes
Oh my God. It was a bad computer day this morning.
Oh, yeah.
you would only have people for
Nice to see you out, Cheryl, enjoying
Oh, Marlene, I just showed
life,
a
you
video
know,
of me.
What?
family. It was nice to see you.
On the weekend?
Yep.
I can't
1, 2, 1, 2,
believe
we're
all your
good?
stuff.
the only thing I see
Good evening, everyone. This is the agenda for the municipal council regular meeting Wednesday, November 30th, 2022. Can we all please rise for the pledge of allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Here.
Councilmember Coyle.
Here.
Councilmember Harris. Councilmember Patel.
Here.
Councilmember Patil.
Here.
Councilmember Pointer.
Present.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
here.
Adequate notice.
Adequate notice if this meeting is required by the Open Public Meeting Act of 1975 has been provided by non-union notice in the Home News Tribune, Star Ledger, and Sentinel, and Dizzy Talk on November 25th, 2021, and posted Main Lobby Municipal Complex on that same date.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. For those who are new to attending the meeting here tonight, you'll have a time to speak at 2 different opportunities. The first one is you can speak on the resolutions or the ordinances that are set forth, but you can only speak on them specifically if it's your first time here. But also at the end, there'll be an open public portion. You can talk about anything you'd like. So that's at the very end. So if you do come up by mistake, it's not a problem. We'll just correct you that you can come back up if your subject does not match the resolution to discuss. Thank you for coming. Yeah. I just want to mention again, the Winter Wonderland that starts this weekend in Papiani Park. It's a good opportunity. I want to thank the administration, the Mayor Sam Joshi, and the council here for sharing this opportunity with the residents. There's going to be an ice rink there. We have over, how many lights is it? Over 1,000 different lights throughout Papiani Park. So come on out, enjoy the vendors, and quite good time here. Moving forward, thank you. Unfinished business, ordinance to further consideration, public hearing, and further adoption. Clerk, read ordinance.
Bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements by the Township of Edison in the County of Middlesex, appropriating $7,360,000. Therefore authorizing the issuance of $6,992,000 bonds or notes to finance part thereof.
I can open this up to the public for any comments. Seeing none, can I?
Motion to
A
close the public portion.
Councilman Patil, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Pointer, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries to close the public portion for the ordinance. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Do you have any council comments? Can I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance amending the Township Code with regarding to Gloria Avenue for prohibiting parking, residential parking, and turning prohibited and regulation of traffic.
Can I open this up to the public for any questions or comments? This is for Gloria. Seeing none, you want to speak on Gloria,
Ordinance.
the ordinance for Gloria?
Yep.
This would be now. Your name and address, please.
My name is Pesalina Vandana, and I live on 15 Gloria Avenue.
You have the floor.
Hi. We got the notice like 6 months ago that they're planning to open Gloria Avenue, and we signed a petition with all the signatures, and we gave the petition to Mr. Sam Joshi, and this is the copy of the petition if you want to see. Asking us, there are some inconvenience which would cause because they are diverting the traffic, school traffic onto Gloria Avenue. And Gloria Avenue is a very narrow street. And the width of the street is only 3 cars can only fit in the street. So, and if there's a garbage truck, only 1 car can squeeze in very tightly. That's how narrow Gloria Avenue is. So diverting the whole school traffic or part of the traffic here is going to cause lot of inconvenience to the people living on Gloria Avenue. We already mentioned that in the document which we gave it to Sam Joshi 3 months or 6 months ago, I believe. And also exit from Gloria Avenue to Plainfield Avenue is also very narrow. And it's like a blind spot. And it's very hard to see the cars coming from the, like a top hill and taking a turn onto Plainfield Avenue is going to be like a safety hazard even for the school traffic getting out from the Gloria Avenue. And morning 7:30 to 8:30 a.m., which is like a rush hour for residents who are trying to get out of from Gloria Avenue to go to work, or there are some elementary kids who live on Gloria Avenue, and parents have to drop them off in the school. And during those time, only right turn is permitted. But how about residents who are planning to go take a left turn and they need to drop off their kids or go to work? It's going to be very lot of inconvenience for the people living on the Gloria Avenue because it's a narrow street and that could lead to a lot of accidents too. And I see there are a lot of kids who walk onto Gloria Avenue, and there are also a couple of streets parallel to Gloria Avenue, and a lot of parents drop off their kids on Gloria Avenue and other streets parallel to Gloria Avenue, like Manor Boulevard, and there's another street, Broad Avenue. And all those kids, they come to the Gloria Avenue, and there's a crossing near the Gloria Avenue, and they cross near the Gloria Avenue. So, and this also could be like a safety hazard for the kids who are crossing from Gloria Avenue to the Woodrow Wilson Avenue. And the intersection of Avenue and Woodrow Wilson Drive is like a three-way junction. So I have like a chart here. So this is the school, and this is the exit from the school, and this is where the Gloria Avenue is, which is like in line with the
Excuse me?
school road.
Council
Sure.
President, can you give it to Marlena so she could, I want to see the picture up close. I
Yes.
can't see that far.
If you want us,
I just want to see, I want to see the picture.
Yeah.
So this is the Gloria Avenue, and this is.
Deputy Clerk, if you want to get a copy of her petition, you offering the petition to give to us?
Yes, please.
We can make a copy and give it back to you today if you need it.
And this is the copy of petition.
You can continue.
And we feel like that will create like a three-way junction, and when the parents drop off in the parking lot, they need to take a right turn onto Woodrow Wilson and then take a left turn onto Gloria Avenue. And there are buses coming from the school after dropping off kids. And in the evening, there are kids who are crossing to get to the Gloria Avenue because there are cars who are picking up kids from other streets, which are parallel to Gloria Avenue, like Manor Boulevard and Broad Avenue. And from the principal, they said the kids can be picked up from the other streets too, because there's not enough parking for everyone in the parking lot designated near the school. So I feel that's going to create more safety issues for the kids crossing from Woodrow Wilson to the other side of the street. And also regarding permitted parking, we were not informed like how many permitted parking will they give it to each resident living on the Gloria Avenue. Because if I have like 2 or 3 cousins visiting us, so where would they park if it is only designated as permitted parking? And also, I'm from India, so we have a lot of festivals to celebrate. And most of the festivals, they fall on the weekdays. And they come in the evening, like 4 or 5 families who celebrate with us. And where will they park if they make it only permitted parking? I don't know how many permitted parking passes each resident will get. So it's going to cause a lot of inconvenience for residents living on Gloria Avenue. So please consider looking at all the safety issues that might cause, and it might lead to more like a congestion issue near that intersection. And also there are a couple of other streets parallel to Gloria Avenue, like Broad Avenue and the Manor Boulevard. Why don't they consider opening those streets too if they want to reduce the traffic so that the congestion will reduce, like instead of diverting only onto Gloria Avenue, have they thought about doing something else like adding a light near the Woodrow Wilson Drive?
I'm sorry, but your
during
time
the-
is up.
Time has elapsed.
Thank you.
I'm sorry. What I will comment is that, does any of the council members want to make a comment
Yeah, Council
about
President.
the research that was done on this project?
Council President, I would recommend that we close public comment before council comment.
Okay. Oh, well, Howard, I think we have other people that want to comment on Gloria as well. We're going to go to the next speaker, and we'll come back to you, okay? Any other questions or comments on Gloria? Yes, Mr. Fagan?
Good afternoon, council. Good evening, council. Nick Fagan, 42 Edgewood Road.
You recognize you have the floor.
Thank you, Council President. I live on 42 Edgewood, which is also in the affected neighborhood, and my kids, when they grow up, they'll go to Woodrow Wilson School as well. I actually have an opposite opinion of the previous speaker. I believe that this is a good idea. And I believe that the residents on Woodrow Wilson Drive will benefit, and the surrounding area will benefit according to the new traffic flow that will be promulgated or established by being able to go out in 2 directions from Woodrow Wilson Drive. My understanding, and I'm hoping that maybe you can clarify or confirm or deny my understanding, is that the residents or the parents leaving northbound on Plainfield Ave or Plainfield Road will go up Woodrow Wilson Drive in order to exit, and there will be a police officer there that will assist and directs traffic. That's how it usually works. And then the residents that are going southbound on Plainfield Road towards Metuchen will will use the Gloria Avenue exit, and they will not be trying to make a double or a left turn onto Plainfield Road. I don't think it's legal to do that anyway, because it's a double yellow line at that intersection, I believe. I could be wrong there. So I believe this is a good thing for the Woodrow Wilson parents, for the school, and to eliminate congestion or alleviate congestion. If it turns out to be a terrible thing, you can come back to it next year or whenever, next school year, and undo it. But I believe it's a good experiment, not even an experiment, it's a good idea, and it should go forward. So thank you for considering, and thank you for listening.
Thank you, Mr. Fagan. Any other members of the public want to speak on this ordinance for Gloria? Yes, sir. Please come up to the microphone.
Hello, my name is Saptarshi Chatterjee. I am one of the residents living in.
Just your name and address, please.
Saptarshi Chatterjee is my name, dear councilman. So I am one of.
Your address, I'm
sir.
sorry.
My address is 17 Gloria Avenue.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you.
You have the floor.
No, this
I said you have the floor, you can speak.
Okay. All right. So I actually live, like my residence is in Gloria Avenue. So I actually am opposing the viewpoint that the previous speaker just mentioned. The reason is, according to the current plan or the proposed plan, the northbound traffic is going to take the Woodrow Wilson, and the southbound traffic on the Plainfield Road is going to take the Gloria Avenue. So if you look at the map, you'll understand the Gloria Avenue is pretty short as compared to the Woodrow Wilson. Woodrow Wilson is kind of like a U-turn, kind of like, and it actually makes some sort of kind of like a curve, and it's much longer than the Gloria Avenue. So according to the currently proposed plan, I feel like, first of all, there would be a lot of confusion because the folks that would like to take northbound Plainfield Road, they have to take the Woodrow Wilson, and the southbound would take the Gloria Avenue, but there is no clear direction what's going to happen between the residents, that is between the Gloria and the Woodrow Wilson. So that's the first point. Second point is that I'm pretty sure what's going to happen is the like northbound traffic, because there is a little bit shorter road on the Gloria, they can take the Gloria to take the northbound on the Plainfield Road as well. So there is going to be a lot of confusion who is going to take what road, and it's going to increase the traffic as well as it's going to increase the confusion according to like the parents who are going to drop off their kids to the Gloria Avenue. So I think this is an experiment that they can take, but I think it's going to create a lot of confusion, and it's going to create a lot of accidents in that area neighborhood as well. And essentially there are a lot of kids in that area, they actually play in the afternoon, and because of the lot of traffic, and like sound like one speaker that she mentioned, like we usually there's a little bit Indian neighborhood, and we celebrate a lot, and like usually in the weekdays there's a lot of traffic anyways. So because of this really complicated traffic pattern, I think there is going to be a lot of like propensity for the accidents and all that. So I just wanted to give my opinion. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public would like to comment on this ordinance? Hearing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public
Can I
portion.
have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Motion carries to close the public portion on the Gloria ordinance. Before I ask for a motion to adopt, to Sonia, do you want to make any comments before the council comments on the work that was done before this?
With regard to Gloria, you're
Yes.
referring to? As far as I understand, we had a presentation by Officer Semino regarding the traffic and the safety issues, and this absolutely will address any safety issues within that traffic pattern. There will be police presence there to ensure that the school personnel are informed, and as well as the parents are able to properly get guidance during those times.
Okay, thank you.
There was one other concern, Council President, with regard to visitors in the ordinance. It does address that. With regard to visitors, for the residents who need permitting. So that is addressed in there.
Thank you. Okay, can I have a motion to adopt?
Council President, I want to make the comment before we adopt.
Okay, I was going to have it's out of the order of the motion, but it's fine. You can, please, Councilman, you can
I think once we
comment
make the
first.
motion to adopt, and you take the roll call, how do we make the
How do we,
comment?
how do we
President's correct.
respond?
Council, usually there's a motion to adopt second and then discussion.
It's discussion. It's not a problem. Councilman, please, you have the
That's
floor.
the
You're
usual
recognized.
process, yeah.
That's not the right order, but I'll leave
No,
it
it
to.
is the correct order, Councilman.
I will leave it to separate discussion for that. Council President, valid points from both the sides, and I had asked exactly the same things when this was discussed prior meeting, and I was told that the consent from the resident was taken. This was discussed among the residents, and again, this is on tape. If you can look, when I asked that question. Second thing is the enforcement I asked about, and the education to the neighborhood, because this is, yes, it's very important and very critical to help the traffic pattern for the Woodrow Wilson, but at the same token, we need to take the residents in the confidence. We have to work with them at the end of the day. We have to resolve all their issues, whether how many parkings, visitor parking, etc. That needs to be cleared out very quickly. But the most important thing is about the enforcement, and I did ask very clearly, will there be first thing is education, what's exactly is going to be the traffic pattern and entry points and exit points. If it means we need to mail the letters or maybe stick it to the doors, to the every residents in that neighborhood, it will definitely help. Even I asked the question about the left turn on Plainfield Avenue, except the Woodrow Wilson. And I was told that, again, if my memories are correct, there won't be any left turn from any of those roads. That means everyone will have to take the right turn from the Gloria or any subsequent street except Woodrow Wilson, that will have that seamless traffic flow in one direction.
That's correct, right turn only.
Yes. That's only the comment I wanted to make. Thank you, Council President.
Okay, thank you.
Council
Any other council
President?
comments? Yes, Councilman Brescher, you have the floor. You're recognized.
As my council colleague said, at that meeting, we did ask quite a few questions, which would be a lot of the concerns that you had. They explained to us the different procedures that they're going to take in place and how it's only during certain hours, so it's not like a 24/7 type of thing for you. Because our concern was your inconvenience, and we do understand that there is going to be an inconvenience to you, and it was to try and keep that as small as possible. They did explain to us that initially the entire neighborhood didn't like the idea. But then after meeting with neighbors and taking their concerns and changing the hours and the way turns are going to happen, a lot of the residents were okay with that. This is, and as my council colleague said, if you watch the video, you'll see, what we got. I do have a lot of faith in our traffic unit, and I'll tell you why. I live on Grove Avenue across from J.P. Stevens. One day your children are going to go there, and you're going to witness that traffic. They changed that traffic pattern, and I would have swore that it would never have gotten better, but it did. And the traffic wasn't bad. It's for 20 minutes in the morning and 20 minutes in the afternoon, the traffic's bad. Okay. They cut that down by a couple more minutes, so now it's a little bit less. So I do have faith in the traffic unit when they say that this is going to make a vast improvement for us. But I hope that you'd watch it, and then if there is an issue moving forward, I think if we talk to the administration, it looked like they were willing to, have the police there or anything they needed to, take care of those concerns. I think it's going to work out overall. And if it doesn't, as was said, we could always change that back. We tried it on Grove, it worked. So I have faith that this will work moving forward.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Any other council comments? Hearing none, can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes, with the hope of enforcement. Thank you.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Madam Clerk, new business, proposed ordinance, public hearing set down for Wednesday, December 14th. Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance amending the Township Code to update the address list of persons entitled to handicap parking spaces.
Have a motion to introduce?
Council President,
Yes.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, December 14, 2022.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Pointer. Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance amending Chapter 11, General Licensing and Business Regulations, subsection 11-7, amusement devices by amending subsection 11-7.4, terms and fees.
Have a motion to introduce.
Council President,
Yes.
I move that this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, December 14th.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil,
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer,
Yes.
Councilmembership Freeman,
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Madam Clerk, read ordinance.
Ordinance authorizing a special emergency appropriation in the amount of $4,281,277.71 to fund accrued sick and vacation time expenses arising from retirement of several employees in and by the township.
Can I have a motion to introduce?
I make a, I move that this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for December 14th.
Can I have a second?
Seconded.
Any council comments? That says Councilman Patil seconded. Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmembership Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes.
Ordinance amending Chapter 16 Fire Prevention and Protection, subsection 16-1.3, inspections of life hazard uses, 16-1-4, inspection of non-life hazard uses, 16-1.5, permit fees, fire code status requests, registration, inspection fees, responsibility for installation and maintenance, key lockbox system and creation, fire watch requirements, and submission of records.
Can I have a motion to introduce?
Council President, I move this ordinance to be passed on first reading, published according to the law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, December 14, 2022.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any council comments? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmembership Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. I just want to interrupt the meeting 1 minute. Lieutenant Turner, do you have a minute to speak to two members of Gloria Ave about the procedure we took in the process of making that a thoroughfare during certain hours? Okay. Okay, I'll have them contact Sergeant Sapino. Okay, thank you.
An ordinance amending Chapter 2 Administration subsection 2-24 Division of Central Purchases by amending subsection 2-24.3 Purchasing Procedures of the Code of the Township of Edison in the County of Middlesex.
Have a motion to introduce?
Council President,
Yes.
I move this ordinance be passed on first reading, published according to law for further consideration and public hearing set down for Wednesday, December 14th.
Have a second?
Seconded.
Any council comments?
Council President,
Yes.
can I ask a question?
Yeah, this one.
Yes, I'm sorry, Councilman Brescher.
Yes, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Okay. Mayor Lanky, you were here when this was 17,000, and now we're raising to 44,000. Was there a reason why you had it set at the 17,000?
Councilman Brescher, we're not going to engage.
Oh, I can't ask the public?
I don't think it's fair to engage with the.
Oh,
the mayor.
okay.
I mean, I respect your question, but
I'm sorry then.
the work session, I
Oh, that's fine, Council
wouldn't agree with
President.
that. I apologize.
I'm sorry about that.
Any other comments, Councilman?
No, that would be it.
Okay. I can arrange a private meeting after the event. I'm not trying to save him. That's the last thing I'm doing.
No, that's fine.
Torture would be interesting. But, thank you. Can I have a second?
We have that.
You have a second? Okay. Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmembership Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. We're moving to 7 on the agenda for public comments on the resolutions only. At this portion, we have several resolutions you'll see set forth in this agenda. You can come up to the microphone to comment on the resolutions only, and you may come up to the microphone. Can I open up to the public portion? To the public? Yes, please. I'm sorry.
Excuse me, ma'am, you have to come to the microphone.
So regarding the opening of Gloria Avenue, I have a quick question. If the decision is for a trial, so are we deciding to
Council President,
allocate?
the speaker is out of order. That's not a resolution. Yeah.
I want to apologize. We've already finished the Gloria Avenue resolution. You can comment right after this portion, which is going to be over in about 3 minutes. You can come back up and comment about Gloria. This is only for the items you'll see about a list of items here. It's only for these resolutions, and this will be done quickly. I'll have you come up right after this.
Okay, sure, thank you.
I apologize, thank you. Any other comments for resolutions only? Yes.
Joel Bassoff, 17 Beach Lane, Edison.
You're recognized, you have the floor.
Thank you. I have questions about a couple of the proposed resolutions. One is 746, a sanitation district transfer. It looks like salaries were off by $300,000. Is that routine? Did we overestimate how much we'd have to budget for salaries for that department? Because it looks like it's being transferred out.
If you can give me your group of questions at once, I'll have them all answered at the same time.
Okay. And
745, and then you have 746?
that's actually 746.
Okay, 746.
And a question about 750. I noticed that that's authorizing payment for a settlement of a tax appeal. It looks like the assessment was reduced by 34%, so I just wonder how much worse we could have fared if we'd gone to trial in tax court. It seems like a substantial percentage decrease in the assessment that we're accepting. A question about 752, the contract for basic life support services. My question there is that it looks like, according to this, we're proposing to pay the ambulance service up to $236,400. My understanding is that the ambulance services bill the patients or their insurers. So I just have a question as to what the township would be paying for in regard to this. And then a question regarding Resolution 755. This is really a follow-up to questions that Mr. Brescher had previously. This is authorizing an additional $35,000 for CMA Associates for general engineering consulting services, and there's a question as to what additional services they've done to earn the additional fee. And those are my questions. Thank you.
You can stay at the microphone if you'd like. Sure. Sonia, do you want to start with the 745 for the transfers?
Sure, those are routine transfers that we do at the end of the year.
Okay, and then we had,
With regard to the JFK, that is what they pay to the township.
Oh, I see. Okay.
and then we also had the tax appeals.
I think that the tax bill question is a difficult one to answer, Mr. Bassoff, and I think you know that. I think that to say how we would have fared at trial is really not a question that we can answer. Of course, in any settlement, it's never a number that we're incredibly thrilled with, but it's a settlement where both parties leave generally unhappy, and we think that the settlement is in the best interest of the township. As to how we would have fared, I mean, I think it's a very difficult question to answer.
Right. I'm not asking for a specific answer. It's just that it struck me that for a settlement, it just seems like a substantial reduction, and which makes me wonder to what extent the taxpayer compromised as opposed to the township. But I understand that that's hard to answer in this context.
Thank you.
Mr. Bass, if I can assure you that our tax assessor, the team is very knowledgeable about this area and what processes they go through to meet the criteria. If you want to arrange a separate phone call and speak to that department at another day, I think you'll be impressed in the process and in the background and experience they have in there. I'm never happy to see a settlement, but I trust in them. They do a great job.
And I'm sure they'll be put through their paces after we do a reevaluation.
Yeah.
You're correct.
And then, the other question I had was 755 CME. Sonia, did you want to comment on that?
Are we referring to the
The additional,
additional,
35,000.
the additional monies?
Yes.
I'm sorry, what was your question again?
Well, I know that there were previously questions about what CME did, what additional services they provided to justify that additional fee over and above the original contract.
Sure, we've got a handful of projects in place, and their oversight of the engineering department, that took much of what we're allocating here, and that's why we needed the additional funds.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments on the resolutions only set forth? Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion on the resolutions?
Motion to close the public portion?
Thank you, Councilman Patil. Can I have a second?
Second.
Council Vice President? A motion, first of all, council members, from my right, Councilman Brescher, anything to pull?
Excuse me, Council President?
Yes.
Oh, anything to pull?
Any pull for a separate vote?
650 and 755.
And 755.
Anyone else? Councilman Porter? Councilman Patil? Councilman Ranesh Patel? Council Vice President Troy Schiff-Freeman? Anything to pull from there? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda with the exception of 650 and 755?
Motion to adopt?
Councilman Porter, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Patel? Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brusher.
Yes.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
Yes.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. Councilman Brusher, 650.
Yes, I had certain issues with some of the contracts and the expense. And when Councilman, my colleague, brought up that we didn't bid it, we talked a little bit about it, that we should probably start bidding some of this engineering work. I just felt I'd like it for a separate vote. That was it.
No problem. Madam Clerk, please note the comments of the councilman.
You could block them together.
Yep. And do you want to do 755?
Yeah, 755, again, that was something that I felt that our old engineer has done more work. I requested a copy of all the bills from the new engineer. I would have thought he would have put them together and got them to us, but I didn't see his bills, so therefore, I wanted it pulled for a separate vote.
Thank you, Councilman Brusher. Madam Clerk, please note the comments in the minutes of Councilman Brusher. Can we combine these together, Councilman Brusher, 650 and 755?
I don't know where everyone else is, but
Okay, 650. Madam Clerk, have a motion to adopt.
Council President, I have a comment to make.
Okay.
I made my position last time very clear that we continue to spend money with one company or continue to allocate funds to one company. In fact, there are better players available in the market who can do this job cheaper and better. I have not seen, I think, we have spent, probably allocated more than $2 million so far, or maybe more, to CME Associates. And last council meeting, I did ask about what we have achieved so far, and I haven't got any list, so I'll be definitely opposing 650 and 655, 755, just for the reason, I don't know what the work is done so far, and can we find better contractors who can do that job. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman. Any other council comments? Can I have a motion to adopt? 650.
Motion to adopt.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
Yes.
Council President Coyle.
Yes. 755. Can I have a motion to adopt?
Motion to adopt.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Any other council comments? Hearing none, Madam Clerk, roll call.
Councilmember Brescher.
No.
Councilmember Patel.
Yes.
Councilmember Patil.
No.
Councilmember Pointer.
Yes.
Councilmember Ship Freeman.
No.
Council President Coyle.
Yes.
Fails.
Fails.
It fails.
It fails.
Aye, fails.
Resolution fails.
So 755 failed.
We go to our list for oral petition remarks.
Council President?
Yes.
Before we move to oral petition remarks, I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Tom Lanke in the attendance. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Council President.
No, absolutely. Thank you. Mayor Orchard.
Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
You have the floor.
Thank you. First, we'd like to thank everyone that volunteered with the cleanup on November 20th. Please visit beautifuledison.com for the next cleanup opportunity. We're also looking for residents to let us know where we are needed. Please visit the Winter Garden December 3rd and 4th, December 10th and 11th, and December 17th and 18th. Looking forward to see how beautiful Lake Papiani can be. The Human Relations Commission is sponsoring the Taste of the Holidays at the Clara Barton First Aid Squad, December 17th from 6 to 8 p.m. If you could, please bring a dish to share that reminds of the holidays. Update on Old Post Road Boulevard of Eagles traffic study. I think that's me. Sorry. When is the next master plan? Is there a date for the public? And what is the website? Do we have a program for our senior citizens during the holiday season, such as giving them a gift or dropping off a basket to make sure that they're okay? And regarding the Clara Barton Library, there's many residents that have questions, and they would look forward to a public meeting to discuss these issues. Thank you.
Thank you.
Address the senior citizens.
And Nick Fagan? I'll get to that right after this.
Thank you, Council President. Nick Fagan, 42 Edgewood Road.
You recognize you have the floor.
Thank you, Council. I'm here to talk today about a few things. They're all interrelated and have been brought to the attention of the council in the past year many times over, and sometimes for over a year. Last Tuesday, the 22nd, there was a zoning board meeting to consider a case Z15-2022. If you're not familiar with what the number is, it's an LED billboard on Old Post Road. It was the second meeting for this case and not the last. The attorney for the applicant, Mr. Jeff Lair, placed an objection on the record and requested that the zoning board chair recuse herself due to her making statements at the September 20, 2022 TRC meeting. The applicant's attorneys claim that the statements made were prejudging the application. The board chair indicated that she had merely repeated comments made at TRC, and she was not the one that had made the comments regarding the matter. In my opinion, what had occurred in that moment in that meeting was the attorney for the applicant was setting up a basis for the appeal. To research the issue further, the next step for us was to request the minutes or the transcripts from the June 6th TRC meeting. When we did this, guess what we were told? We were told that there are no minutes or transcripts of TRC meetings and that they're not required, which is strange because under Edison Ordinance 3912-15A2, it says, I quote, "The Technical Review Committee shall be subject to the provision of the Open Public Meetings Act and shall annually publish a notice of all its regularly scheduled meetings." So that's what's in the ordinance. But the TRC does provide an annual list of its meetings, notices, and agendas, but nothing else. No minutes, no transcripts, no video. And if you've ever been to a TRC meeting, they don't stand at the dais, they don't record, you can't hear. It's a disaster. It's an absolute mess. The Technical Review Board Committee, which is owned by the Planning Board, if you don't know. So this is all a problem. This is a problem at the city. The residents who are billboard ejectors had hired a professional planner to present expert testimony on their behalf. And let's look at this for a moment. The applicant did not bring their professional site engineer or their traffic engineer to the hearing to be subject to cross-examination. Before the matter should have been taken up by the board that evening, the applicant wasn't prepared, nor was there never an intent of the applicant to complete the hearing as they were short their professionals. As the residents were prepared to collect and object with their professional planner present, the negligence cost the residents time and money. So if this zoning board matter would have been available and viewable at the TRC, we would have been able to see what happened on the record. So why are all these interrelated and why are they important? They're important because the zoning board and the TRC and the planning board have not chosen to publish their meetings on Edison TV like your letter requesting them, and they haven't even addressed it, to my knowledge, your letter. And so the zoning board, and the reason I'm coming to you also and speaking to you about it is for two reasons. The zoning board does not have public comment any longer. They've strucken it from their agenda. You guys don't own it, the mayor owns it, the planning board. And Mr. Coyle, you know, because you have served on that board and you have been there for the public comment, that there used to be public comment, but it's gone now. It's been removed. And I don't know how or why it's been removed, but it's no longer there. So you can't come talk to planning board, you have to come talk to you guys instead. So what the residents are asking for is they're asking that council bring forward an ordinance that Edison TV record all meetings that take place in this chamber. When the money was requested and approved in order to get the equipment for Edison TV, it said that everything in this chamber would be recorded, and that was the purpose of spending that money. So I would suggest that you create an ordinance, and I would ask that one of you bring up an ordinance that planning board and everything that happens in this chamber needs to be broadcast by that equipment that you paid for. Or the parties that want to meet in this room should not use this room, they should go somewhere else. Next, the other issue is when will the council bring forward an ordinance for a public advocate to the land use boards to help protect the residents and the public interest? It's allowed by New Jersey Administrative Courts Code, and other municipalities have this. Mr. Council's attorney may disagree and state that a public advocate is duplicative or will undermine the board powers. We, the residents, disagree. The council is here to legislate and do the work of the people of the town and listen to the residents. The residents have been clear they want a public advocate to speak for them. So I would
Council
like for
President,
one of you
speaker's time has elapsed.
to testify that you would
Council
bring
President,
up
the
a
speaker's time has
public
elapsed.
advocate. Thank you for listening.
Any other questions or any other comments on the public portion? If you don't mind, this young lady was waiting to speak, and, yeah, I apologize.
Thank
We
you,
went by the-
everyone, for letting us speak about this. So this is about the Gloria Avenue, the end which everyone is willing to open. So I have few questions. So what is the adjustment made during that time when that particular end will get opened, like the police facility which will be provided for the entry and exit into that street because it is too congested and we are having student crossing that road?
I can set up a private meeting with the sergeant who arranged the research behind this project to sit down with you and the neighbors to discuss the timeframes and everything. Set forth in the ordinance, it's specific on when they open the gate, when they close the gate, and I can provide you a copy of that if you don't have a copy of that today.
Okay, and again, there was one more point which was mentioned there regarding the parking. So I hope that the residents' parking will not get affected because there may be there is a possibility that all the people who are the residents over there may have more than 2 to 3 cars. So sometimes you park it on the street. So during that hours, it should not happen that the residents are asked not to park over there.
Now, actually, that road was chosen because it's wider than the other opportunities. They're more narrow, the streets. What I can do through the clerk, I can gather your email or your contact information. You're going to have someone reach out to you first thing tomorrow and discuss the details of the closing of the streets and what actually is the parameters.
Let me correct you one thing. So what you mentioned that it is wider than the other roads. No, all the roads are all equally narrow. So it is not that it is broader than the other one. It is just that because it is an entry and people wanted to open so that it will be faster, which is not possible even though you make the entry open to everyone. But it is not a broader road comparatively. So that is just an assumption we are going
I
with.
think one has sidewalks and one doesn't. But
Yes.
again, the specifics I can get to you with Sergeant Semino, and I can, commit to that opportunity for the two of you to meet to go over that. And if you want to pick a specific time, the neighbors can get together and have that conversation.
Sure, we can pick up a time so
would
that
help.
we
I mean,
all are available. Just few more points there before I end. Like we never agreed on the point that it should get open. It is just that we don't have a choice as of now, I can say. So it was not an agreed option. Like we have a petition signed by all the residents who have objected this opening. So it is not an agreed motivation like that we have agreed on that, first point. And the second point, with this narrow resident area, on the both the sides, we are increasing the junctions. So as we all know that as junctions are increased, accidents are increased in the same ratio. Correct? So now you are making it as a 4-turn junction in one end and 3 on the other side. So we also have to consider the increase of accidents which will happen in between this two junctions and this narrow resident area. So I just want everyone to have a look into that. Like we should make sure that that is avoided and people are safe in that area to come out of it safely and enter with no restrictions like everything getting restricted by the buses or something.
I understand, and again, I'll commit to the interview for the residents with Sergeant Semino, which I think you'll get some more detail of this. And I apologize that you weren't at the last meeting or weren't aware of the last meeting, but from what we were told, they notified everybody about the meeting. And from what we were told as well, they interviewed the residents on the block. I know
They,
the
yeah, they have informed, but we oppose that. Like we filed a petition after that. So it was objected, but yeah, maybe we missed that.
But I can promise that, and one of the other council members mentioned, if this doesn't work out, we can rescind it back to the council and overturn this. So for today, this is the discovery that was made from the traffic division that would relieve the issues that are having before us. So if this doesn't work out, we can look at it again. But for today, I can promise the interview with the sergeant to sit down with you.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you for listening all of this. Thank you,
No, I
everyone.
understand completely, and I apologize. We just have to, before you leave, I'll have the deputy clerk come over to you and get your email and any information you want to say. If you want to share your cell phone as well.
She gave them Lisa's information.
But I can get
Oh.
them also. But I gave them Lisa's contact information.
But I just want to make sure we get their information, that Sergeant follows up with them. Thank you. Any other comments on the public portion we had? Yes, please.
Joel Bassoff, 17 Beach Lane.
You recognize you have the floor.
Thank you. I'm glad Mr. Fagan brought up the issue of the need for a municipal public advocate. I watched the special zoning board meeting last night, and that really brought out in stark relief the essential need for a public advocate. There was a proposal, a property owner on Central Avenue, which is a street of single-family houses for the most part, and it's a single-family housing zone. A developer brought up a proposal to put in multifamily construction. Now, in that case, when it originally came before the zoning board apparently was looking out for the interests of the residents, and they denied the application for a use variance. However, because the residents, being lay people and being unrepresented by professionals, were not they didn't have the wherewithal to establish an adequate record, the developer appealed the matter to Superior Court. The Superior Court sent the matter back to the zoning board. The zoning board then entered into settlement negotiations with the developer, with the result being multiple family housing in a single family zone. And this is a proceeding known in land use parlance as a Whispering Woods procedure, where the lawyer for the developer, the lawyer for the zoning board huddle together privately, no public participation. They reach a settlement agreement, and only at that point is it presented to the public, pretty much as fait accompli. And from what I saw of last night's hearing, the public, again, may have had sound arguments, but being lay people, they didn't know how to frame it in legal terms sufficient to perhaps have another denial of this variance hold up in court. Had there been a public advocate representing the residents of that area, they would have been able to put together an adequate argument that would have withstood legal scrutiny, and they would be able to preserve their neighborhood and, importantly, preserve the zoning code. Several people at that meeting made their heartfelt statements. Why don't you just uphold the zoning ordinance? But as we know, a court is not necessarily looking at a layperson's public comment at a zoning board. They want to see the analysis of a planner, the analysis of an engineer, maybe a competing traffic study, and the people in that neighborhood didn't have the wherewithal to present that to the board. So once again, from what I've been seeing, is that if the council does not provide the funding for a municipal public advocate, we're going to see eventually a shambles being made of Edison's zoning code, and we're going to see neighborhoods lose their integrity as neighborhoods. And on another topic, if I have another minute or so, I missed the discussion of the bond ordinance. I have a question about, because it's not reflected in the ordinance, how much do we pay bonds counsel and underwriting fees? How much of the bonds proceeds go for those purposes, or does that come out of the general budget? How does that work?
Oh, where you want to do it at the end, right?
So,
I don't have that figure, but it does come out of our appropriations under operating expenses.
Okay, because I saw that the ordinance does provide not only for the bond issue, but also bond anticipation notes, which then is sort of bonds on top of bonds, and I was just wondering how much that might add to the fees that the township might be paying.
I don't have that tonight, but I can get that to everyone.
we can create an email with you and have this answer to you tomorrow.
Oh, thank you.
That's fair.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your time. Any other questions or comments in the Seeing none, can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion.
Sorry, Ms. Orchid, please.
What am I answering questions? Close the public.
Sorry, when my phone was ringing, a resident wanted me to ask some questions. Maria Orchid, 83 Jefferson.
Sure, you recognize you have the floor.
Thank you. Again, regarding the Clara Barton Library, can you provide the meeting minutes regarding the decision to relocate the Clara Barton Library from the current location to converting it to another? Was there a meeting held with the Clara Barton section of Edison concerning the relocation? In this section of town, there are no facilities, amenities. We have to go to Ford to get activities for the kids. We also have to go to Woodbridge for soccer, swimming, basketball, or volleyball. That happens to be the only sheltered place for all, including the seniors that go there to read and escape. What is next? The special needs program, is it a program just for the season, or is it going to be standard and stable, only used for one use on that empty building? What is doing with all the work and doing well? What is guaranteed that the relocation is not a usual slope to rezone or sell the property off? And last, relocating to a rental property, what is the guarantee the township will be able to pay the rent? Thank you.
Thank you. Can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public.
I'm sorry, we have one more, I apologize.
Question, before we start the timer. This is
Your name and address, please.
AJ Benz, Edison, New Jersey.
Time starts as soon as you start talking.
Okay, then go ahead.
Okay.
This will be you guys are wrapping it up, or that will be it?
You could be the last speaker.
Okay, all right. I recently just went to the Supercharge yesterday, and I just found, they actually gave me a little tour of it, and I was very impressed what you're about to see. And I'm pointing to you all in the camera. Anybody who's watching and listening, you guys are gonna be impressed. This is gonna be amazing. I don't wanna spoil it, but you have to see it to believe it. I just wanna thank the town and Mayor Joshi for having this, because this is gonna bring a lot of attention, a lot of people visiting Edison when they're on the go. This might beat a Kingsburg go-kart, if you know what I mean. Let's see how the competition is with how Supercharge is and with this township. This is going to be interesting, and I want to congratulate everybody for doing this, and even you guys who are watching. You guys were the voices for this year election, and congratulations to everybody who was on the board. I want to say my condolences for Mr. White. And you know, it's funny because I always carry this card around. Mr. White. Never had him in my class, never had him in my schools, but hearing him was amazing. My condolences for everyone, and it was very, very emotional on that day. There's one person I want to mention, and it was my best friend. His name was Anthony. I can't pronounce the last name, but it's C-O-T-A-S. He was on Sycamore Street, right across the street from McDonald's. You know, it's kind of funny. Losing two people, and we don't even know what the cause of death, and they both died in their sleep. I don't know what's going on in this world, but we have to start loving people during this holiday. People can fight, argue, wherever it is. People are, still speeding. People need to just slow it down a little bit. I understand it's the holiday season. I wouldn't be here a few years ago after getting hit by a car. So all the drivers out there, please slow it down. We can get a big message by Governor Phil Murphy, that'll be great as well. Oh, hope everyone can hear me, because some people, they can't hear, and you have to put the mic on when you're at home. So hopefully everyone can hear me. I just want to say thank you guys, everybody, for doing what you guys do and approving all of this. I appreciate you guys too. You guys are literally the definition of the voice of Edison, New Jersey. I guess that's going to be it.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you and have a great day.
Any other public comments? Can I have a motion to close the public portion?
Motion to close the public portion.
Patel, can I have a second?
Second.
Councilman Patel, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? The motion carries to close the public portion. And just before we adjourn, I just want to answer, Maria had some questions on the master plan. Any council members want to comment on the next master plan meeting?
Well, we have a meeting the first Tuesday in December. So you get some more information after that. And I think you also asked about the senior project. And you can be Chris Kingrell along with me if you want to and help me collect the different things. But everybody knows every year I collect gift cards for the seniors. And please give them to the clerk's office, to Marlena McCray. Please give all the gift cards. And, you know, I want even a bigger showing this year than it was from last year, because with inflation, the costs have gone up a lot. And I know we always have a bunch of boxes and everything for children, but we have a bunch of seniors in this town that could use your gift cards. You know, start at $25 gift cards, not much, I'm not asking for much, but I know I gave them to a lot of good seniors last year. Some seniors live in subsidized housing and places like that. So please, please, please give me my gift cards again like you did last year. Thank you very much. And bring them to the clerk's office, Marlena, and put your name with them. You don't have to give them to me anonymously, because I would like to thank each and every one who does that. And only one thing I will ever say about the library is about 10 to 12 years ago when I was on the library board, they were talking about closing Clara Barton back then at all. But I believe now that they're trying to work out some things where they have a bookmobile, or maybe some of those empty places on Amboy Avenue, business places that no one is in. They may be able to do something like get like a space there, have books in it, you know, a little tea, coffee place like that. So I would think, you know, the Clara Barton residents would get together and come up with that and think of things to enhance when they, you know, sit down and they want places for peace and calm and stuff to read. And that's all I'll say about that. But over and over again, please give me my gift cards for seniors. Thank you.
Thank you, Council Vice President. Also, Maria had questions on the program for seniors through the administration. If we can send an email out to Maria on any future things we're doing in addition to what Council Vice President Joyce Shipp-Friedman mentioned, we'll get back to you on that. The other part is the Clara Barton Library to the administration. If we can look at an opportunity to set up a meeting for the Clara Barton residents to review the actual plans. Is that something that could come together?
Sure, we can certainly do that at some point. Right now, what's happening between the administration and the library, we are discussing an agreement. So while that's happening, we're not ready yet, obviously, to share to provide any information at this point, but we will be able to do that. As far as the building, the plans are to keep the building, and what we're doing on the engineering side is making sure that all of the ADA requirements are intact. So that's some of what we are discussing and are doing with the Clara Barton Library.
Thank you. And Maria, for the resident who sent you a message or called you, if you can forward that list of items to the administration to have answered and to see what is can be open or not for the different meetings. And to Mr. Fagan, the first question you had was about the discussions on the TRC and what should be recorded. Counselor?
Thank you, Council President. As I've stated before, and I think we've talked about this in previous meetings, that the Zoning and Planning Board by the municipal land use law are separate autonomous agencies, autonomous bodies. And the role of this governing body is to either make appointments to those boards or to provide advice and consent for appointments to those boards as they come forward from the mayor. We would be remiss if we did not adhere to the municipal land use law and allow these boards to operate as the independent agencies, independent boards that they are. The municipal land use law is clear, and I think it's clear for good reason, because I think it would be incredibly inappropriate for this council, when it felt that a decision of that board was contrary to their viewpoint or to their perspective, to then just supplant that board with its own viewpoint. They're given all that autonomy for a reason, and they were given that autonomy by state law. So it's been my position since I've sat in this seat, that when it comes to how those boards operate, that they can set their own rules, and those rules would not only deal with the decisions they make, but the procedures they set. And therefore, if they decide they don't want to televise their meetings, they have that prerogative. I understand this council sent a letter requesting that they do so. If they have not, that's their decision. I would only say to council is that I think if this is something that is important to this body, you can ask that of potential board members before they take their seats in your advice and consent role. So as to that question, I think that's the best answer that I can give. As to the public advocate, I have provided some guidance by way of memo to the governing body as to the parameters and my recommendations as potential pitfalls. And we're still looking at that question. But the question, though, that is clear, though, on any public advocate is that the cost of that advocate must be borne by the taxpayers, by all the taxpayers. So as we move forward in that process, know that it's something that, if the council so desires, will have to be budgeted. And the cost will be set by the advocate. Whatever the advocate will need, this township will have to pay for it. So just that's a consideration as we move forward, but I understand it's still under review by the council. Thank you, Council President.
Thank you. I believe I answered the questions that were brought to our attention. I'd like to have a motion to adjourn.
Council President?
Yes, Councilman Brescher?
Yes, I'd like to just comment.
Sure.
I do disagree with our attorney as far as the filming. To me, the filming it does not do anything to planning or zoning or anything like that. What it would have done for the TRC, from what I just heard, was there could be a potential legal challenge because somebody quoted something that happened there and there are no minutes and there is no video. And to say in the year 2020, I'll tell you what, to say in the year 2000 that you don't have a video would be pathetic. But to say that we don't have it in 2022 is just unacceptable. So I was going to propose to do something there. But instead, because I have heard the public come up about a public advocate, and I do know council members were keen on this, and I thought we were working on it. But since I haven't got any of our legal bills yet to know what our attorneys are looking for, check, right? I was hoping to have that yesterday. But since I don't have that, I'm actually going to draft up an ordinance myself for a public advocate. I will distribute that to my council colleagues for review and to the attorney. I will then take their input on that and see what we can do as far as getting something that would get a consensus and getting this passed. Because I do believe this council talking about this for well over a year is just a disservice to the public, and I just can't sit back any longer. So I'm not an attorney. I'm going to try my best with it. I'm sure with our attorney's advice, at the end of the day, maybe I'll go back to law school now that I'm retired. But I'm going to make that promise to the public. That's it, Council President.
Thank you, Councilman Brescher. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any nays? The motion to adjourn. Thank you.